California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. Ian Parkinson is back. He is the sheriff of San Luis Obispo County, reelected in June. Congratulations on that. You didn't have to face a November general.
Correct.
So I want to speak with you about the incarceration of women. You know, the reality is there are women prisoners, and we know that sometimes those prisoners are not given their just due. But in San Luis Obispo County, there is going to be a new jail facility.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Well, we were very much busting at the seams.
Right.
So in February of 2011, we got approved.
14? Oh, 11. Okay, yeah.
And we had funding from AB 900 to start a new women's jail. Then came realignment, and so it provided additional challenge. So fortunately, we're prepared, and we're moving forward with getting our new women's facility up and running.
Which is very exciting indeed. I mean, there's no question that, like you said, you need the space. Now, this will be a jail, correct?
Correct.
Not a prison. So it's for lower level offenders. Although that kind of begs the question, what's a lower level offender?
Correct.
Have you been dealing with that?
Actually, I think the bright side of realignment has been the programming side, and so we've had a number of opportunities, and I think if you look over the history of California and you look across the 58 counties, you're seeing a big change in the way we're dealing with our inmate class. As opposed to just locking them up, they're looking at programs that will change behavior. So it's been a positive note, and we'll actually have the space with the new facility to actually do the programming that we don't have today.
When you talk about restorative justice, I know that you're serious, because recently you had a program where you were looking to really kind of to create that sense of self-esteem for these women inmates, because if they are in your facility, they are lower level offenders. I mean, these are women, you know, not giving them a pass, but these are not your hardened criminals.
Correct.
And so they're going to get out, and you know, we need to work with them. So tell us about your, it's sweet, a handcrafted lap quilts and Afghan program.
Yeah, so if you look at it at kind of two directions, one kind of correcting their behavior through programming and treatment, and the other is what are they giving back to society that is actually helping their self-esteem. So this is one of the programs that it was actually one of our lead instructors on this was one of our senior deputies in the jail, and she was the one that taught them how to quilt and actually you know, make the Afghans and such to give out.
And what did you see? I mean, when you look in their eyes and you see these women who are producing, who are giving back, I gotta think it meant something.
Absolutely did. I think the thing it meant for them is A, they're learning something new, and they're doing something that they felt really good about. And there's probably not a lot of them that feel really good about themselves or about the things they're doing. So we kind of covered both areas at the same time, and to know that, you know, if we look at it as you know, one of our family members, one of our grandparents is in one of these facilities, and they're actually supplying that quilt or Afghan for that person, it really made him feel good.
Now, for better or for worse, some of those women and some men as well, as a result of the passage of what we know as Prop 47, may be able to seek release sooner than they anticipated. Prop 47 reclassified certain crimes from felonies to misdemeanors, and it's not only prospective but retroactive. Could you talk to us a bit about 47? Before you give us a sense of your concerns, what does it do?
Well, you know, immediately, you know, you covered it. It takes what were formerly felonies and makes them misdemeanors. So I think the immediate action that we've had to take, matter of fact, I came from a meeting just prior to this on the topic, is how do we make this work? We have people in custody that we have to immediately make it work for, because the law went into effect immediately.
Right.
So it was not as if we had until January to plan, which in many cases, you know, laws provide for, but not this particular one.
That being said, I would have thought that some of the county sheriffs would at some level have applauded the passage of Prop 47, would have supported Prop 47, because it decreases pressure on your prison populations. I should say it again, your jail populations, because it's your jails that are busting at the seams because of AB 109 realignment, and now fewer crimes are classified as under the categories that will keep them in prison or jail for a longer time.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly have that. I think state sheriffs as a whole were opposed to it, and certainly you can make that argument. And I think, you know, for us, and I'll speak specifically for myself, The law passed, and the voters voted, so we support it. I mean, that's what we do. But obviously, there's some concern. I mean, when we oppose something like that, there's some concern. And I think the concern is specifically in the area of have we opened up a revolving door? And if you look at the drugs themselves, we have just implemented programs through realignment that we're putting in place that have never happened before in the jail system, and now we're providing treatment for these people that are addicts.
And let's be specific, just so our viewers understand. Under Prop 47, pure possession crimes, those are being reclassified as misdemeanors.
Correct. So heroin, methamphetamine are the two big ones, and they're classified now as a misdemeanor as opposed to a felony. Yes, it's all under it's all under the same.
Because as you know, there was this sense that crack and cocaine were treated differently, and the crack users tended to be people of color, the cocaine users tend to be people not of color, and so that caused some concern. So now, am I there? Am I right?
Yes. So basically, all your stimulants, you know, that you include your methamphetamines, and then your also your heroin, so your opiates. So
where do you go from here? Because you have indicated on this show and in prior shows that these realignment programs have been bearing fruit, I guess you could say. You've seen the benefits of these addiction programs, but now they're not going to really receive them because they're out of the system.
Well, I would say this. I'm even though I see some significant problems and challenges, and I don't think people generally completely understand it. I have to be fair, and that is that we're going to have to wait and see as well, and we're going to have to give some of these a chance. You know, the concern with the drug end of it is can we expect them to follow through and get their treatment that they need when they're not in custody, not in that environment? And I think that is our biggest challenge. Some of the other parts of 47, when you're talking about shoplifting versus burglary, I really don't think that's going to have a great effect, because I think most of the time people are charged, were previously charged with theft as opposed to burglary, and even when it came down to court, those were often reduced. So I don't think that's going to have a significant impact. I really am focused on the drug treatment aspect.
But what that really says is there does seem to be a sea change in California, in America, about our view of the war on drugs. You know, the view seems to be that it's a war that we shouldn't be fighting anymore. I don't know if that view is so monolithic as it relates to the harder drugs, but at a minimum towards marijuana. And so where do we go with that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Brad, but I think the truth is that whether we're fighting the war or we're just suffering the consequences of it. In other words, the overdoses of the 18 to 25-year-old on heroin has been in epidemic proportions in the United States. We're going to still deal with that. We're going to still deal with, you know, the damage it's doing to families by them merely, you know, committing other crimes, because a lot of people are in custody not for that crime specific. They're in for drug and alcohol related crimes.
And what about this whole notion that you create a pathway, a gateway to more hardcore drugs by, we're not decriminalizing these drugs, but misdemeanors are misdemeanors. And so if all of a sudden they're seen as less severe, are you then giving license to, well, if marijuana is classified just like heroin, heroin like marijuana, they both can't be that bad, so I'll give heroin a try.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly offer the argument that are we giving up? Are we decriminalizing and saying that it's okay to our youth? And I think that's some of the problems that we're going to have to evaluate and experience.
So please.
I was going to say the other thing about 47 that's really important, and the one that stands out, is the theft of a firearm. It was previously a felony. Now it's any firearm under $950 is a misdemeanor. A lot of handguns, the majority of handguns, are under that value. And so here, in one respect, we're saying, hey, we need to scrutinize guns in our society because of what's happening. Now we're saying, hey, if you steal a gun, it's only a misdemeanor if it's under this value.
Maybe there'll be a fix.
Well, I hope so.
His name is Parkinson, Sheriff for San Luis Obispo County. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.